According to the New York Times and CNN, over 2.3 million Americans are currently incarcerated in prisons. The United States actually leads the world in incarceration, and prisons are starting to become a uniquely American institution and approach to crime and punishment. In fact, no matter your background, you probably know somebody that's incarcerated or that has been. Because in America, we lock up people for relatively minor offenses like drug crimes and writing bad checks, things that other countries wouldn't send people to prison for. And moreover, once the people are in the system, it's becoming increasingly hard for them to get out. They're kept there for longer durations, and while they're there, corrupted into real criminals who have a hard time finding an honest life on the outside. The growing and astronomical number of American prisoners is costing taxpayers billions every year and is not deterring people from committing the crimes that they were sent there for. And while in prison, people are associating with gangs, or they're taught the criminal lifestyle by other inmates, and they're treated unfairly by other prisoners so that they have a difficult time responding when they're on the outside. More often than not, they end up behind bars again before long. The American prison system is clearly not working. The American prison system is broken because it's costly to taxpayers, because it does not deter future criminal behavior, and because prisoners are mistreated while they're incarcerated. The American prison system is broken because it's costly to taxpayers. CBS News reports that the cost of incarcerating one inmate for a year is upwards of $30,000 and can be as much as $60,000 in some states. These amounts add up to a cost of $64 billion a year to Americans like us, taxpayers, and it isn't getting any better. In reality, crime rates have gone down by 40% in the last 20 years, and the crime rate hit an all-time low in 2003. Yet the number of prisoners in America has grown by 3.6% every year. In a time of financial crisis and economic downturn, we have to be sure we allocate resources to the right areas. As Victor Hugo once said, every time you build a prison, you close a school. We can't afford to continue to pour money into the prison system when institutions like our schools need money to function. While the budget for the corrections system grew between 30% between 1987 and 1998, the budgets for elementary and high schools and public colleges went down by 18.2%. Prison guards are paid $10,000 more a year than public school teachers. This is a sad commentary on our priorities and indicates a problem with the American prison system. The American prison system is broken because it does not deter criminal behavior, and it encourages recidivism. Why are we spending all this money to house these criminals every year? Because we want them off the streets and we think that they can be fixed while they're on the inside. This is not true, however. The LA Times reports that released prisoners are going back to prison at a rate of 60%, and juveniles at a rate of 80%. From the U.S. National Commission on Criminal Justice Standards and Goals, prisons do succeed in punishing, but they do not deter. They make successful reintegration in the community unlikely. They change the committed offender, but the change is likely to be more negative than positive. First of all, it's proven that the majority of people with criminal propensities are different from the rest of us. They generally have lower IQs, are under the influence of drugs and alcohol more often, and have mental illnesses more often. These factors prevent them from making a rational cost-benefit analysis before they commit a crime. They just commit the crime. They don't rationalize whether or not they're going to go to prison and how bad it will be. And the fact that prison is a possible consequence doesn't alter their actions. Secondly, when they're in the system, prisoners are introduced to other inmates who may be more hardened criminals, are in gangs, or who are just in worse social situations. These people influence the newer inmates' behavior and continue the relationship with them on the outside, encouraging crime and lowering their self-worth. The American prison system is broken because prisoners are often treated poorly and their basic rights are violated. Although prisons are established to punish criminals, a lot of times this punishment goes far beyond the norm. The rising number of prisoners has made it easier for rights violations to occur and for them to be brushed under the rug. The New York Times reports that physical and sexual abuse of prisoners, similar to what has been uncovered in Iraq, takes place in American prisons with little public knowledge or concern. Mistreatment comes in many forms, including physical abuse by other inmates and by their prison staff, extortion, inadequate medical care, inappropriate solitary confinement and other mental manipulation, the rampant proliferation of diseases like AIDS and hepatitis C, and just overcrowding. Besides being unusually cruel, these conditions break down the prisoners so they can't function well in society and are doomed to live within the system. Establishing alternatives to prison is the only way to reverse the out-of-control spending and problems associated with the current system. Better educational programs in and out of the prison system would help to reduce crime rates and criminal behavior. Treatment programs for drug and alcohol addicts would serve society much better than just punishing them for their crimes. Juvenile offenders should be dealt with on the outside of adult institutions and given therapy and treatment for the problems they're facing in their lives. We should be less apt to send those with a mere technical probation or parole violation straight back to prison. And finally, we should provide structured programs to help prisoners reintegrate into society so that they have the skills to lead productive lives and stay out of jail. I urge you to become personally involved in the prison reform movement, as well as to elect legislators that will make a difference on this issue. Because the American prison system is laden with problems, it's extremely costly, it doesn't deter criminal behavior, and it fosters abuse, we must find feasible alternatives to move forward in a progressive society. Thank you.